welcome. Today we're going to be looking at structures for football, game plan and strategy. So we'll be covering off on a few areas of midfield, defensive and forward line structures today. Just before we get started, just a bit of WHS. So you guys will be formulating your structures, we'll be going out and putting these structures into play. So just for any reference, on the wall we have an emergency evacuation plan. So basically we will be assembling in the car park. Just a few things to be mindful of, like cars entering the car park at the time, any emergency services entering the car park. But yeah, we'll meet in here and then as a group we'll go outside. So I've had a look at the oval, done a bit of a risk assessment. Oval's in pretty good condition, so you won't need boots today. We've got first aid kits available on hand as well, so we'll keep monitoring any risks and any hazards throughout the day. Just be mindful of the bike track as well, as it is a public space. There will be the public using the oval and the bike track, so just be mindful when you're crossing that you don't get in anyone's way. But yeah, all good from there. So today's session we're going to be looking at structures and game plan. So it's important, being a coach myself, that you implement certain structures in game plan on game day. This is to obviously help your team sort of be on the same page with what they want to deliver during match day. So for me personally, I'm big on defensive structures and making sure that we're adhering to the game plan. Don't mind a bit of flair throughout that game plan, but as long as we know we have specific roles, specific setups that we need to be covering throughout the day, throughout the competition is where we need to be at. So we'll cover off on a couple of questions to start with. So I've got a few questions on the board. I want you guys to just have a bit of a brainstorm amongst yourselves, and then I'll come back to every couple of minutes to have a bit of a think and write down anything that you can think of. So the first question is, why is it important to have structures? So have a bit of a brainstorm. I'll give you a couple of minutes and then we'll come back from there. Just have a bit of discussion. I know a lot of you guys have played footy under coaches that are probably well drilled, well structured. So think back to maybe what they say in their coaching sessions as to why you're doing these structures, what we need to use them for. Could be take your mind back to any sort of defensive structures that they put in, any forward structures, midfield structures that they put in place to help you guys achieve the goal, which is winning the game of footy on the weekend. Just give you one more minute and then we'll come back together and get a few things on the board. Alright guys, how do we go? We'll start with you, Brado. If you just want to give me one reason as to why you feel structures are important for your team.
So the team is all on the same page.
All on the same page.
Yeah.
Jetty, what about you, mate?
Gives the team life and purpose.
Good. Suggs or Nettie?
Gives the team a good understanding on how the team wants to move the ball from
Yeah.
defence to offence.
Right. Alright, so that's really good, guys. I've just got some key elements on the board, so areas that I focus on as a coach. So for some of you boys I've coached before, and we know that we're structured, we play selfless brand of footy, and we play team first footy. So what that is sort of implying is that you're all working together. There's no individuals. You know, if you have set structures and a game style put in place, and 3 or 4 players move away from it, or they don't do it, the whole thing breaks down. So, and then obviously you've got holes opening up all over the ground, and opposition can move the ball through pretty quickly. So based around a lot of these structures are pressure and contest. So if it's a forward line structure and you're trying to keep the ball in your front half, you've got to bring the pressure, you've got to win the contest, give yourself repeat 50 options, and then obviously lock the ball in the front half so the other structures can get set up behind the footy. Your decision making is key as well. So making the right decisions with the footy. If you know you're going to be entering a certain side of the ground and everyone's set up for that, and you go down the line and no one's set up for it, you automatically just turn the footy over, give it back to the opposition. Slow play, lane changing, umbrella, inside 45 kick, so things like that. Just purpose coming out of the back half. What do I need to do in the back half? What do we need to do when we hit a certain point in the midfield? And how are we looking when we move forward? Your different structures and your different lines. Your shapes around the contest, so everyone's got a purpose around a stoppage contest or a ball up. And then obviously playing the territory game. So based on your pressure and contest, winning ball at stoppage or winning the ball at so any sort of boundary throw in, and then getting the ball in your front half and holding on to that territory and not letting the ball out. Defensive 50, you're sort of looking at gaining control as quickly as possible with football. So whether it's a quick ground ball and then you find a short 45 target, you've got control straight away. So you want to get it out of dispute as much as you can in the defensive half and get it back in control, and then sort of your launch pad, sort of how you want to move the ball from half back, your strike zone where you want to sort of move the ball inside 50, and then your structures from there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to just watch a quick video on some forward structure, and then we'll do a little activity where you guys can design your own forward structure using the magnets or the whiteboard, and then just give us a brief explanation of why you set your forwards up like that, and vice versa. So we'll go through the first video. Sorry. Alright, this is the forward line structure one. Alright, so we'll have a quick watch of this.
So let's get stuck into it. Today we're going to be going over forward structures part 2. So if you haven't seen the first video, I suggest watching that. But today we're going to focus on a few more advanced options. So first one we've got here is our Domino 6. This is a great option if you've got a strong forward 6 and you want to create some one-on-ones, provided that you're keeping your spacing and those leading lanes open. Now the next one is absolute chaos. We're going to create a tight little huddle inside the forward 50. We're going to lead our man in. We're going to shepherd, bump, block for each other to try and create space in front of us and on the outside whilst losing our opponent. Now for a more formalised setup, we've got a 3-2-1. So 3 at the top, 2 in the middle, 1 out of the cage. So this is really good if you're trying to get your high half forwards up the ground whilst still having a key prominent forward leading up. This is very similar to our next high set, which is 4 at the top, 2 at the bottom. So again, the high half forwards can get up the ground, providing space for our 2 in the square to work to, and then we can always have our smalls diving in to get front and centre. Next one is then opposite to our dominoes. So this is a 6 on the side, so isolating. Again, we're just trying to get as much space between us as possible so that we can go to work, use our strengths, and then ultimately hit the scoreboard. As mentioned before, this is a great setup if you've got a strong one-on-one forward line. However, if you don't, this next one, the pairs could be a better option because you can work in 2. So you can use strengths and weaknesses, being talls and smalls. I always like to have the two big forwards out of the middle, and then your medium to small players hitting the front and centre and trying to crumb a shot on goal. Which brings us to our final one, and that's a flying V. So just moving into that sort of channel position, you'll have space on either side, and it's really good if you know you're going to hit up at the ball and to lengthen the ground. So there you have it, guys. A couple of different setups that you can now use and implement on game day. Make sure you follow for more top tier tips and tricks.
Alright, so what I want you guys to do now for the next couple of minutes is just in pairs or a group of three. We've got five, so one group of three, one group of five. Just use the magnets, use the whiteboards, come up with a forward structure for me that you think will work on game day. Have a bit of discussion of the ball movement, what you want to try to achieve out of that forward line structure, and yeah, we'll share, we'll come back and share. So I'll give you 5 minutes, and yeah, then we'll come back and share. If you need any help along the way, just give us a yell, and I'll come and change.
Wait, I'm on here. No, I'm not. That's just a really bad setup.
Then you get the people.
We're doing the forward.
We need to pockets. We need to pockets.
Yeah, we're going in the forward.
Oh, we're doing forward.
Yes. Get out of here. So, we need, let's go to T1, T2. In there, south side.
Is this when they're kicking out? Or?
This is when we're going into the middle. Yeah. So let's say we want two deep. These two big dogs work in it, and they're both going to run up the ground.
Make them up.
But surely not. So that's one notch. And I reckon this is for a deep, but we've got two absolute units, like two Roberts up there, and we just have four up high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we've got these two roll back, and these two come in when they're going deep.
Yeah, so maybe we should then we'll go
one
Yeah, yeah. So if they come short.
It doesn't always.
Like that, rolling.
Yeah, and they do. No, hey, let go. You don't even know. You don't even know.
Sorry, I apologize. I'm not a chef play lucky.
No,
Do you need any
so you don't
magnets,
understand.
boys? Do you want to use some magnets?
We got them. No, they don't need magnets.
What you got? Alright. Right. Sure, he might come coming up for that lead.
So yeah, he comes up short. Bang! Oh my god, and this was crumbing. But he also may go in front. No, actually no, he doesn't, because then we've got midfielders. Yeah.
Don't look for that.
No, exactly. So now we want these guys coming in with that. To crumb the big dogs. So if we hit up here, and he's too far out, he can hit up these two dogs.
Alright guys, a couple more minutes and then we'll go back through it. Can you explain the structure and why do you think it will work? Who's doing what?
I'm ready.
Right, your group's ready. How you going, Brado? You ready or?
Yeah, hurry up. Dude, you've done nearly the exact same setup as me.
Alright.
It is. You've got
Right,
two
mate,
deep.
we'll get you to go through yours first. Just give us a brief explanation of like your six forwards, how you set them up and what their purpose is.
Yeah, so we've got two deep, so two big targets down in the full forward.
Yep.
And then we've got the rest of the little guys up on the 50. And then we also have another centre half forward sort of role playing up on the centre half forward.
Yep.
And we want to hit this one up, the centre half forward, we want to hit that up.
Yep.
And if he gets it, we want to turn around and we're going in deep to the two full forwards, and then we've got people rolling in to apply pressure and just keep it in deep.
Awesome.
So that's the main
Love
goal.
it. That's really good. But boys, right, Jack Brado, how'd you go? Who wants to explain yours?
Me.
Brado? Alright, way you go, mate.
We called it a bat because it sort of looks like one. It's
Yeah.
got a full forward and a forward pocket sitting in the box, and then a forward pocket floating about 15 metres up, so they can crumb and also do some leads.
Yep.
Then you got a big centre half forward in the middle, where they usually are on the 50. They can lead out anywhere or come up high. Half forwards will crumb and go up high up the field and take intercepted marks, and then hit it in and run to the full
like that as well.
Ready, big
So yeah, so important, guys, that everyone has a purpose out there. All right, if you take 2 or 3 of those structural players out of that, and they're doing their own thing, might be high up the ground, you know, the ball's already moved past them, and they're sitting at half back, and they haven't worked back to be in your structure, then it breaks down. Okay, so defenders might end up with +2 or 3, and they win the ball back and they transition easy on you. So you can see the purpose of making sure your structure's set up. Everyone knows what's going on. Okay, so then you work as a unit. All right. Good. Next brainstorm question. All right, so I want you guys to have a brainstorm and think about what 3 elements, or just come up with a couple each, to ensure structures are set up properly. Like what has to happen? What should you be doing to make sure your structures are set up properly? All right. For some of you guys that I've coached, think back to training sessions and things like that. What are we trying to talk about? What are we doing to making sure these structures are getting set up properly? So take about 2 minutes, just have a bit of discussion and think about what I need to be doing. What does the team need to be doing to make sure these structures are getting set up? Give you 2 minutes.
Wait, is it F-E-I?
Yeah, it's FIA.
Is it?
Yeah, correct. Shoot to me.
Forming into structure as a team.
It can be deleted. It's just not there. Wait, I didn't see it. Formation.
I said formation. Forming into the structure as a team.
Shh, don't want to. What are you into?
All right, how we going, guys? All right.
It's like a baseball field.
All right. Logan, your group, what did you come up with, mate?
We come up with communication on field.
Oh, yes.
So it takes
communication.
one like captain or just someone to speak up to keep people in line on the field. Because the
Perfect.
coaches can't always be telling them what to do. You need someone on the field.
Yeah. Awesome, mate. That's communication is key to anything in life. If you're not communicating on the field, if you're not communicating at home with your partner, with your mum and dad, or your brother or sister, you know, it can cause a lot of angst or people not being on the same page, and it can cause on the field it can cause desertion between the ranks. So if people aren't doing certain things, it can create sort of that negative environment, and you don't want that when you're playing. You want to all communicate and all be on the same page. Brado, what have you got?
We said repetitions.
Repetition. So practicing your structures over and over. Repetition of structures. One more. Who wants to give me one more?
I said being accountable, laugh for yourself. You don't want to let the team down.
Yeah. 100%. And another good one as well, and you boys probably, is that proactiveness. So it comes off the back of communication. Like if you're getting a structure set up, and it's essentially like you've taken a mark across half back, how are your forwards structuring up straight away? Are you waiting for the next kick to happen, or are you structuring up straight away? Okay, so getting in those formations quickly will assist you moving forward. Right, the next line we're going to look at is defensive line. Okay, so watch a quick video, and then I'll get you guys to come up with a defensive structure of your own, and then I'll get you feed it back to me, and we can go through it. So we'll just get this one going.
So we're going to take you through AFL terminology part 3, and today's all about defensive strategies and structures. So this is when you do not have the ball in hand, so that can be during a transition period such as a turnover, or when the opposition has a clear possession such as a free kick or a point kick in. The aim of these strategies is to mitigate the risk of being scored upon and to ultimately regain possession of the ball. Now, our first defensive structure is known as a zone, okay? So this is typically a defensive structure whereby part of or the entire team forms together to guard and protect particular areas of the ground. This makes it easier to defend as players are able to hand over without the need to chase after their player, meaning they can conserve their energy whilst also making it harder for the offense to navigate their way forward. This is most evidently seen during kickouts because the team has time to set up. So here we've got a 2-5-5 that I've drawn on our little oval here. However, this could be set up whenever the ball is located deep within the attacking 50 of the defending team. So think about a deep out of bounds or a point. These can be a really useful strategy to slow teams down. However, if you're not organised, good offensive teams will just pick you apart. So you need to make sure you get there early, set up and try and guard your space as well as possible. Now, similarly, another defensive strategy is a press, okay? Now, this is another defensive term whereby the goal of the defending team is to take away as much space as possible in the defending team's forward 50. This is a more aggressive strategy as the aim is to cause a turnover or a stoppage close towards goal as a means to get the ball back as quickly as possible. So here you can see these circle players pushing right up to man those X players up. This is most commonly seen as the ball enters into the forward 50 of the defending team and allows for the backs to push much higher up the ground to gain extra territory. This causes more congestion and pressure at the source. Now, another interesting concept for defending is a bubble defense, okay? This is where a team aims to create an area, generally on the skinny side of the ground, to own or to have their entire team within. This allows them to have greater numbers within the immediate area to win or turn over the ball, but also making them vulnerable to switches and or fast burst out of the stoppage, okay? But it makes it very effective to control a particular area on the ground. So think about late in the quarter when you want to try and keep it in your forward 50, this could be a smart strategy. Now, the easiest and most old-fashioned of these defensive strategies is a simple man-on-man defense. This is typically during fast ball movement whereby there's not enough time to set up for a zone or press and players must locate their direct opponent as fast as possible. Now, sometimes that's easier said than done because it can be quite chaotic and demanding of your players if their organisation and their conditioning is lacking, especially if it's late in a quarter. However, teams may decide to use these strategies at different times throughout the game based on the style in which they'd like to play. They all have merit and ultimately can all be used to help us defend.
Alrighty team, here are some tips if you play on the half forward. Now firstly, it is a very tough position. A lot of the time you're doing heaps of running for not much.
So what we'll do now, guys, is just jump on your boards, think of a defensive structure, so how you want your team to set up defensively from a kick-in. Alright, what kind of, do you want to go man on man, do you want to use a certain structure, what are your forwards rolling up higher, you know, in a formation, what are your back six doing, what are your wingers doing, just, the obvious one is like the press, but doing a little bit of research. I've looked into presses that different AFL clubs are running at the moment, and they run 2 diamonds instead of a lined press. They run 2 diamond, one on each side, and they'll just have a couple of players covering the corridor, but they work in their diamonds on either side of the ground. So formation's the key, guys. Like, as long as everyone's on the same page, they all know what they need to be doing. You can shut down ball movement quite easily as long as you're all doing the same things and setting up correctly and proactively. So whatever you can come up with, 2 minutes, and then we'll run through it.
Are we only allowed to use the defenders? Or are allowed to use like...
No, this is from the kick out.
So we're allowed to use midfielders?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's like
You
it's
can
like
use your whole
the
team.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So 18.
Let me get it out. So the reds are the backs.
You still actually need
Reds are the backs. Mid is not the right structure. How many mids are the 3 midfielders on the right? Where do you reckon you put the rock?
right.
At the rock.
No, pretend there's a kick out.
Couple of visuals on
From
the
there
board,
on.
boys, of like a few of the structures
Yeah,
that
but
I
that's
love.
our full back line.
Press.
That would be our back line.
Are they? Yeah. Yeah, so they were
forward
just going to
50
be in the
stoppage.
This is
Wanna
only
keep
the
that?
defenders.
Oh, so you just leave them on
Stoppage.
Yeah.
Because if there's a kick out up there and I was on centre half back, I'd be here.
Are we taking the kick out?
They're taking the kick out.
Yeah. So this
You
is
push
our
up-
back line, so they've been kicking out.
This is the full back. They're kicking out.
Yeah, they're kicking out. So opposition. No, so
This is our defense.
you've kicked the point, and then you're trying to keep it in your front half. So what defensive structure?
We've kicked. Yeah, they're kicking out from their foot.
Oh,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If
That's
they're
their forward
kicking.
line, that's our back
It
line.
doesn't really matter. They're kicking out from here. Okay. It doesn't matter. They're kicking out from here. We're defending.
Yeah, so that's our forward line. Do you understand? They don't kick out from our back line. We kick out from our back line.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
our forward.
Oh, so you've changed it now.
No,
You guys
Don't
are
worry about the label. Just set up how you.
Yeah, he said this is our back line, and I was like, but they're kicking out from up here.
Yeah, well, everybody
That's
knows
right.
the same.
On the same page here.
Communication.
Work, discussion is good, communication is key.
This is the centre half back. We see him on the other one, but then we're going to midfield again.
But then do you want to cover those gaps? So we can pass down?
Yeah, I was going to do that. The wings will be out a bit
Kind
further.
of, yeah, out kind of near where the rucks are.
Yeah, and then the boys will be midfielders. They'll be the midfielders on the right, pretty much. Ready to crunch.
Well, they need to go one is wide and the midfield is in.
No, yeah. He was that point. What don't we have right now? The wings.
Now, when you said these two, but maybe one is better.
No, on midfield. We'll make the.
We'll never make these like anything.
But we need another midfielder.
They can midfield.
Yeah, we need another.
Jack, we should call it Jack, right? But where do you want it?
Exactly. These are midfielders.
Do you want a next group, like a
Yeah.
midfielder, half forward, half forward?
The centre half forward is in the centre of the ground.
Yeah.
Oh no, centre half back, sorry. Centre half back. Yeah, we'll make the back line easy. Centre half back, right there. Do you reckon we should have a pocket? Oh no, flank.
Go one more minute,
Go a bit
guys, and then
wider,
we'll
yeah.
share.
Yeah, and the side of that. Then have a little other flank in the pockets, just in front of 50.
Yeah.
We need some more wood. That's our pockets.
Yeah.
Then we need the full forward.
Forward, right, straight eight.
Yeah. Just in front of it. Just in the 50.
And then,
It's good.
and then their first
That
kick,
looks crap.
first kick goes to the pocket.
Yeah, then we
And they
press.
all push over. And then it comes back and they go switch it and they all push back over.
You think so?
But
And then
you
make
got-
sure, make
you
sure
got-
it
you've got
closes off the
three-
corridor.
3, 2, 6, 3, 3. Interesting.
We've got, not really.
They're not really set out.
As long as you've got your forwards, mids, and backs.
It's just so if they go to the
Yeah,
pocket. it's just-
I would probably prefer.
No, wait. Let me explain. Okay, it's
Yeah.
like say they go for the pocket kick, then this guy will go on the mark, and then they're all pressed like
Oh,
around
true,
him.
true.
And then if they go for a long one, that's our ruckman, and
Yeah.
that's the centre half forward. So either side, and they've got a midfielder with them, and then the wing, the next layer if it goes.
Yeah,
west.
okay. But I'll put it back. But I see it as like you could go. They come in here. They
Doesn't
press
someone need to
here.
go on the mark there?
No, you just need someone around the 25.
Yeah.
So like, see these two. They cover this ground. Plus, if they get this pocket, that's fine.
Yeah.
But then you've got 3 to cover. So if they push up here, you've got 2 now back here to
What?
cover in there.
Then
so
would
they
you
roll over.
Then would you push the centre half forward and the ruckman back a bit if they're up?
Yeah. Well, so if they came, they would be fine here. They can stay here. That's a big kick.
Yeah.
But they both work.
Alright. Nettie, do you want to explain? Just what you
Just-
sort of run through?
Yeah, no, this way.
Or Jet?
No.
I don't know what I'm saying.
You just
So we're pretty much we're more guarding space instead of manning up, trying to press into the pockets or make them go long to our ruckman or centre half forward.
Yeah, that's good, mate. 100%. And it's like again, it comes back to communication and what's everyone doing. I like how you set it out there with the different colours for the different forward, mids, and back. And obviously, communicating, mids are communicating with forwards, but you also, the communication is laterally and horizontally. So you need to be, and so it's usually your lateral and forward of you, and then whatever's happening behind is being communicated to you by the line behind you.
Yeah.
So, and that's the important part of a good zone or a good press is communication. If you're out there and no one's talking to each other, no one's communicating instructions, then it just breaks down, falls apart, and then you just get picked upon really quickly. I was watching the Sturt versus Glenelg Granny last weekend. Sturt run a forward press, and I think Glenelg got out the back of their press twice for the game. So that's communication and execution of your structures. But yeah, so if it breaks down, which it probably did a couple of times, then Glenelg were able to get it out the back really quickly and score down the other end. So what about you, Brado and Jack? What have you got?
We made a press where the high forwards, like the full forward in the forward pocket, is making a little semicircle around the box just to put on some frontal pressure.
Yeah.
And then we've got a wing and the high forwards, like the half forward, making a second ring around the full forwards in the forward pockets just to keep on the pressure and try and give them space, but not too much space,
Yeah.
like tease distance. And then we've got the centre and like all the mids plus a wingman on the 50,
Yeah.
just to try and keep in the ball. And we've got rucks in the middle in case they bomb it in.
Yeah.
And then we've got all out four backliners, like the half backers, back pockets, and the centre half back, making a 4 line just in case they bomb along. We've got like insurance line, I guess. And then if they get out of there and then kick it long, we've got full back and back pocket just to run back and try and take a mark.
Yeah, or it's a 100-metre kick. They're not kicking that long.
And sign up to under 17s. Okay, question.
I like how you've labelled the different positions in the press as well, which is important, especially teaching younger age brackets. If you're teaching a press, just getting them set up in their actual positions in that press line is important for them to understand where they should be. And you know, it's really important that you understand where everyone needs to be in your team, because you can get shifted position, and you need to know where you need to be in that position you've been shifted into. Right, the last area we're going to look at today is just midfield. Alright, hands up if you're a midfielder in here. Okay, good, we've got a couple of you. Right, so this is just based on positioning at like a centre bounce. So we'll watch this one through and then...
So doing a centre bounce, just go straight to the opposition sweeper. You leave this part of the pie open. If you think your ruckman's getting a really good handle on the game, don't always start where you're going to finish up, right? So just on the move a bit, spit through here, you're keeping your coverage.